High in the mountains of Peru, wrapped in mist and perched on a narrow ridge between two soaring peaks, lies one of the most beautiful places ever built by human hands. A whole city of perfectly fitted stone, built without mortar, without iron tools, and without the wheel. Then abandoned and hidden from the world for centuries. The Spanish conquerors who destroyed the Inca never even found it. This is the story of Machu Picchu, the lost city in the clouds. Welcome to Curio Hour, where we uncover the strange, the unsolved, and the unforgettable. Today's story, Machu Picchu. To understand Machu Picchu, we first have to understand the people who built it. The Inca, who created the largest empire in the history of the Americas. At its peak, the Inca Empire stretched for thousands of miles along the spine of the Andes Mountains, ruling over millions of people across western South America. And they achieved this without some of the tools we consider essential. They had no writing system as we know it, no iron, and famously, no practical use of the wheel in their mountainous terrain. Yet they built an extraordinary civilization. A vast network of roads, terraced farms carved into mountainsides, and magnificent stone architecture that still astonishes us today. They were master engineers and stoneworkers, able to shape and fit enormous blocks of stone with breathtaking precision, all by hand. And around the middle of the 15th century, under one of their greatest rulers, the Inca undertook the construction of a remarkable mountain retreat. Machu Picchu. It was built on a high ridge, around 2,400 meters above sea level, in a spectacular but incredibly difficult location. Surrounded by steep peaks and deep valleys, with the sacred river winding far below, it is a place of staggering natural beauty and staggering practical challenge. Because building a city on a remote mountain ridge poses enormous problems. How do you create flat, stable ground? How do you keep it from sliding down the mountain? How do you feed its people and manage the water? The Inca solved every one of these challenges with brilliant engineering, much of it hidden beneath the beautiful surface we see today. To create level ground on the steep slope, they built a vast system of terraces. Stepped platforms held in place by stone retaining walls, marching down the mountainside. These terraces were not just for farming. They were essential structural engineering, stabilizing the steep slopes and preventing the whole site from collapsing in landslides. Beneath the terraces, the Inca built deep layers of crushed rock and gravel for drainage. In a place of heavy mountain rains, managing water was a matter of survival. They constructed channels and fountains to carry fresh spring water through the city and to drain away the heavy rainfall before it could damage the foundations. It is estimated that a huge portion of the construction effort at Machu Picchu went into these invisible foundations and drainage works, the unseen genius that holds the city up. And all of this was achieved with stone hauled and shaped by human muscle alone, on a remote peak, without machines or draft animals to help. But it is the stonework itself that most amazes visitors. Because the finest Inca walls are built without any mortar at all. The stones were cut and shaped so precisely that they fit together perfectly, locking into one another like a three-dimensional puzzle, with no gaps between them. The famous saying is that you cannot fit a blade of grass, or even a sheet of paper, between the stones of the best Inca walls. The fit is that perfect. Achieving this took incredible skill and patience. The stonemasons shaped each block with harder stones and bronze tools, testing and refining the fit again and again. And this technique was not just beautiful. It was practical genius because Peru is a land of earthquakes. When an earthquake strikes, mortared walls crack and crumble. But the Inca's mortarless walls can shift and settle, the stones dancing slightly and then locking back into place. This is why so much Inca stonework has survived earthquakes that toppled later buildings. Their architecture was engineered brilliantly for the unstable ground it stood on. Centuries later, engineers would study these very walls to understand how the Inca achieved what modern builders still find difficult. Machu Picchu contains around 200 structures. Temples, homes, storehouses, plazas, and royal residences, all woven into the dramatic mountain landscape. Every terrace and stairway was placed with deliberate care, fitted precisely to the natural contours of the ridge. So what was Machu Picchu actually for? For a long time, this was a deep mystery. But scholars now have a leading answer. The best evidence suggests it was a royal estate. A grand mountain retreat built for the Inca emperor and his court, a place of relaxation, ceremony, and religious importance. Here the ruler could escape the capital, hunt in the surrounding hills, and honor the gods far above the everyday world. It would have been a kind of country palace, where the ruler and the nobility could escape the capital, surrounded by sacred mountains and stunning views. But it was also deeply spiritual. Many of its finest structures align with the sun and the stars, tied to the Incas' sophisticated astronomy and religion. There is a famous carved stone, the Intihuatana, thought to be linked to the sun and the solstices, and a temple where on key days, sunlight streams perfectly through a window onto a sacred stone. The surrounding mountains themselves were sacred to the Inca, and Machu Picchu was positioned to honor and align with them. It was a place where the earthly and the divine met. Only around 1,000 people are thought to have lived there, many of them servants and workers supporting the royal court and the religious life of the site. For perhaps a century, Machu Picchu flourished as this glittering royal sanctuary in the clouds. And then, quite suddenly, it was abandoned. The reason lies in one of history's great catastrophes: the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors in the early 16th century. The Spanish conquest shattered the Inca Empire. War, and especially the devastating diseases the Europeans brought, killed enormous numbers of people across the Andes. As the empire collapsed and its population was decimated, remote sites like Machu Picchu could no longer be maintained. Its people left and the city was abandoned. But here is the remarkable thing. The Spanish never found Machu Picchu. Hidden high in the mountains off the main roads, it escaped their notice entirely. While the Spanish looted and destroyed Inca sites across the empire, Machu Picchu was spared simply because they never knew it was there. And so the city was left to the mountains. The jungle slowly crept over it. Vegetation covered the terraces and temples, and Machu Picchu vanished into the green. For around 400 years, it slept in the clouds, known only to a handful of local farmers who lived and worked in the area. Then, in 1911, an American explorer named Hiram Bingham came to the region, searching for a different lost Inca city. Local people led him up the mountain, and there, beneath the tangled vegetation, he found the magnificent ruins of Machu Picchu, largely intact. Bingham brought the site to the attention of the wider world, and its astonishing beauty made it an instant sensation. The lost city in the clouds had been found. In the years that followed, the vegetation was cleared, the site was studied and restored, and Machu Picchu emerged once more in all its glory. Its remarkable state of preservation, thanks to never being found by the Spanish, makes it one of the most complete and beautiful Inca sites in existence. It has given us an irreplaceable window into the genius of the Inca, a people who built a masterpiece on a mountaintop and aligned it with the heavens. Today, Machu Picchu is one of the most famous and beloved places on Earth, named one of the new 7 wonders of the world, and visited by people from every corner of the globe. It stands as a breathtaking testament to a civilization that, with stone and muscle and brilliance, built a city in the clouds and then watched it slip into legend. Lost to the world for 4 centuries, preserved by the very mountains that hid it, and found again at last. The lost city in the clouds. Machu Picchu.